guys, this is Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. For today's Halloween project, I'm creating this haunted house shaped card. To save us some time, I've already cut all the little pieces that I'm using to put together this cute card. I'm using 2 die sets from Honeybee stamps. For the house card base, I'm using the House Builder card base die set, and I'm using the Haunted House add-on for all the other elements. You may remember another video that I've already done using this House Builder set that was done a couple of months ago, and you can see that video here. The card base is cut from black heavyweight cardstock, and the rest of the elements are from regular white cardstock that I picked up at Michael's. Now, of course, we don't want white pumpkins and such, so I'm coloring everything up with my Spectrum Noir markers. For the pumpkins, I'm using OR1, BO4, and then for the stem, I use DG3. Then for the window frame and door, I'm using MB2, MB3, and MB4 to kind of get a bit of wood grain effect on that. It's such a small, all of these dies are really small, so they're such small images that you're not really going to be able to tell any kind of real detail, so the coloring, you can leave it as simple as you want, and I pretty much zipped through this. This video is sped up some, but it's not sped up that much, so my coloring, like I said, these are really simple images, so it's only sped up, I think, about double time. Then for both the pumpkins and the windows, I went ahead and put some vellum on the back. Now, this is something you don't really need to do, but I wanted it to look like a window. I didn't want that black card base to be showing through when I put it on there, so I lightened it up a little bit by just putting some vellum on there. And then for the pumpkins, after I put the vellum on, I also colored that with a yellow Spectrum Noir marker so that they have a little bit of a yellow glow. Again, these are such small images that you really can't see a whole lot of that. If you're interested in any of the products that I used today to create this card, you can find a list of those down in the description box, and I've got a visual list over on my blog. Now, most of these are affiliate links, so using them will help support this channel without costing you anything extra. Now that the pumpkins and the windows done, I'm going on and working on that tree. Now I'm still using those same MB markers. First putting down a layer of MB3, so that's kind of the lighter tone. I'm going to go over that a couple of times, and then I'm going to bring in my MB3 to give a little bit of shadow and then blend everything out again. Next, I moved on to those little tombstones. I'm using BGR 1, 2, and 3, starting off with the BGR 3 to give a little definition and a little darkness on the edges, and then I'm going in and blending them in. The BGR 1's the lightest tone, and the BGR 2 is going to be blending that out. I think that little cross turned out pretty cute. And then I'm moving on to the other tombstones. Now these, I decided to do a little bit extra on these, mostly because it's been a couple of years, but I used to make paper mache tombstones and styrofoam tombstones for the yard. I haven't done that in a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a few little cracks here and there on both of these last two tombstones. I was already working on this first one when I thought of that, so I've already got that first base layer of BGR1 down, and then I went in with BGR2 and drew a little outline of that crack, went back in with BGR3 to darken it up a bit, and just blended some things out. Then on this last one, I go ahead and start off with the BGR3 to draw in just the basis of my cracks, and then shade everything in, get the base color down with BGR1, and then blend that out with BGR2. Once I've got the basis of it done, I went back in with the BGR3 to add in those dark little cracks. I know it's probably a little silly, but I really love how those tombstones turned out. Next, I'm going to start working on the roof. For this, I'm using a mini ink pad from Hero Arts, part of a set that I've got that's in soft brown, and I'm just going direct to paper down on that cardstock. What I'm trying to do is give it, I don't know, kind of an old look. So I'm not really particular as to whether or not all of the color is even or anything like that. I'm just going down direct to paper and just spreading the ink around and hoping that some of those little grooves that are in that that are embossed into the die cut will still show through. Then I go back over the whole thing with some black soot. And of course I want some creepy texture to that, so I've got to do a little bit of water spritzing with my distress sprayer. Didn't seem to do too much, so I did go ahead and add some more ink on there and then sprayed it again. Now that all of those pieces are done, except the roof is still a bit wet, I'll go ahead and start assembling the card. Now I did kind of plan out how I was going to put this one together, and there are a lot of different house designs that you can follow. Mine is really simple, so I'm going to just start off by adhering that little window down, and I'm just putting the glue behind the frame, trying not to touch any of the vellum so that the glue doesn't show through. And as usual, I'm using my art glitter glue. I had originally planned on putting both of the little pumpkins over by the door that I'm going to add in a bit, but I decided instead to put one of them just on that windowsill. Now I'm going to add my little tree. It's going to cover part of that window, so it's going to look like, of course, it's in front of it in the yard. Now, one thing I forgot about before I was putting the tree down is that it's also needing to be in front of part of the roof. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my art glitter glue, put that on the roof, and go ahead and get that roof put in place. Can you tell that I'm not doing anything in the right order? The door should have been done before the roof because the little, there's a piece that goes above the door that actually goes under the edge of the roof. So I'm having to pull up a little bit of the roof to get that in there. And then I can go on and assemble my little cemetery. Now for the haunted cemetery, I am intentionally having those not be straight. I'm leaving them just slightly tilted to the side so they look like they're old. Then I'm going to go ahead and put that little fence in front of them. And now I'll add that second little pumpkin in front of the door. And of course, what haunted house is really a haunted house without some ghosts? So I'm going to go ahead and add the two little ghosts that are also in that die set to the front of the card too, and they're just kind of lurking around the cemetery. I'm also adding those two little bats as well. I think I've added bats to pretty much every Halloween card that I've made this year. I'm going to have to go back and check. But they just scream Halloween. I think you guys know me by now. I just have to add a little shimmer. So I'm adding a little wink of Stella to the ghosts and to those little bats and onto the little pumpkins. Now, what to do about a sentiment? I went through my Halloween stash, all that stuff that I started going through that I'd cut out last year, and came across a couple of sentiments that I thought would work pretty good. This spooky die cut is actually from the Little Bee. It's a Little Bee die set that I don't think is available anymore. If I can find it, I will link it down below for you. And then another Happy Halloween from one of my stamp sets. Again, I'll see if I can find which stamp set that actually came from. That one was heated and embossed, and I put that on the inside of the card. That finishes up this card for today. I hope that you are inspired to get going on your Halloween crafting, and I would love to see what you create. So come join my Facebook group, Crafting with Debbie, and show us your creations. I've left a link in the description box down below. Oh, and if you make anything using ideas from one of my Halloween videos, please post a picture and tag me at hashtag DebbieJ's Crafting Corner and at hashtag DJCC Halloween 2020. You can also see all of my Halloween videos for 2020 by clicking on the hashtag DJCC Halloween 2020 down in the video title. Here are some other videos that you may be interested in. Thank you so much for dropping by, and remember, if I can make it, you can too.